Well, here we are, day 5 of 9 of our storybook card. We are halfway through, and this is the third card we're going to make. It's going to be a little more complicated than the last two that we've played with. Now, as a reminder, you've got to grab your supplies list and template from our countdown page. The link is here on the screen. And remember, we get a new link activated each day. You will find you'll have the first 4. If you were not able to see those, they are live for you, so you can work your way through the process. And once again, the last session will be on October 11th. And remember to post your project to the Facebook page when we are done with this. We're going to do a draw at the end of the summit, and you're going to have a lot of fun with this. Now, the supplies for day 5 have been the same all along. White cardstock, 8.5, 11 for the card. Your glue, your scoring mechanism. Remember, if you're using a joy, use the pen to mark the score lines and then just make them by hand. And of course, a scraper. Now, for today's card, you need 2 of the files. Now, one of them is the Thalia sled. It's a PNG file. Well, that'll be a print then cut. But now we have a winter layers SVG file. Now there are 3 layers to this, and there's a lot of little techniques that we're going to use to make that work for us. And one last thing, make sure you go to our YouTube channel and of course subscribe. It is Bette Makes Media, and I'd love to see you there. Now let's get over into Design Space and start working on our card. Now you may wonder exactly why I have the one open from last time. That is because we want to do some copying from what we did last day. So we want to take the card and we want these last 2 pieces here. We want to copy those. Now you can come up to the edit menu here and click on copy. Now, I want to start a new project, so I'm going to come up here to New, if you can see this in the top corner. It's going to ask me, I'm going to replace mine because I've already saved it. And now I'm going to click on Edit up here and hit Paste. And now I have the pieces I want. Now, the difference being here is I'm going to need a minimum of 6 of these little guys. So, let's grab these 2. I'm going to hold down my Alt key and I'm going to drag it out. I've got 4, 6, and I might as well make 8 of them just to make sure I have enough. Great. Now these are all set up and ready to go. They're already attached. I don't have to do a thing for my card or for my extra pieces. Now what we need to do is upload the sled, print then cut, and of course our winter layers. So let's go to upload, and hopefully you've got those uploaded. Here's my winter layers, and here is Thalia on the sled. Now you may wonder who Thalia is. She is my granddaughter and she is an artist. She drew all these characters for us. So I'm going to add those to the canvas. Now as usual, they're too big, so I'm going to click away. I'm going to click on Thalia here, and I am going to make her 3 inches here. I just want her 3 inches tall. And of course we're going to give this one a treatment. Before we even touch this other piece, I want to work on the treatment here. So let's just zoom in a bit here. And I'm just going to move it over so we can see what we're doing. And move down just a little bit. We're going to use the same process here that we've used before. Now with this one, I want to, of course, come up to offset. We're going to get a 0.25 offset. That is just fine. We are going to apply it. Now I know it's black, and as before, we know what we want for the bottom because we may want to just simply perk this one up. That's where the extra pieces are. So now I'm going to take a look at what our offset is here. It says 3.498. So let's make that 3.5 to make it easy on ourselves. and not worry about the height. What I want to do now, as we've done before, is I'm going to grab a shape. I'm going to grab a square, and I am going to unlock the square. Now we know the width is 3.5 because we just made it so. Now for this one, for the width, once again, I am going to make it 1 inch. And that is so I can fit it down into here. I'm just going to grab it up a bit. Yeah, that looks pretty good. So I'm going to grab this and then the offset, and I'm going to do it from the layers panel over here. I'm going to hold down my shift key and click. What I want to do now is align them center horizontal, and then I am going to come over to combine as we've done in the past, and I am going to weld those two together. Now, I know it's hard to see. Let's just grab it. And I'm going to come up here to arrange. I'm going to send it to the back. And I'm going to now change the color. And I'm going to change it to white. And I know it's hard to see. And as before, I just want to click on blank canvas here. Come up to the color. I'm going to change our background color once again to that yellow. And that's just so I can see what's going on here. I'm just going to grab both of these. I'm just going to move them up. So I'm bouncing on the bottom here, just so I can see it line up at the bottom on, I've got it on the 10-inch mark. And the reason I'm doing that is because I want my score line to come across here, and I want it at 1/2 inch. So let's go back to our shapes. Let's grab that score line. Let's rotate it 90 degrees. And we know that it's going to be 3.5, so we're going to change it to 3.5. And I'm just going to grab it here, and I'm going to eyeball it up here. 1, 2, 3, 4, right there. Nice. Okay, so what I want to do is just grab everything here, and I want to align these center horizontal. Looks like everything is in place. Okay, so now I'm going to grab these two pieces without the score line. I am going to flatten them, and then I'm going to arrange and send to back so we can see our score line again. Now let's just grab everything here and attach it. Looks fabulous. Okay, so let's zoom back out. Just go back down to our regular. Move over and up so we can see everything that's in place. So now we have our little sled person all ready to go. We have all of these backgrounds, but now we have to work on these. I'm going to click on it. Now remember, our width for Thalia was 3.5, but if we click on the card, we notice that it's 5 inches wide. So that's the maximum that we can have this. So the width right here is 12. Well, we know that that is too darn big. So I'm going to make it not quite 5, but 4.8. The reason I'm going to do that just gives us a little leeway to work with. Now these are 3 different layers here. So let me just come back in here. Just going to go over there and up to the top. And that's just so we can see these layers. Now right now they are grouped together. So I'm going to come over here to the layers panel. I'm going to ungroup them. So we have one that fits on the top, one that fits over to the side, and then of course the one in the background. Now you'll notice these little trees. Now these are going to be intricate cuts, and this is going to be an important thing to think about when you're going to make this. Now we are pretty well ready to start making it. So I'm just going to reduce our zoom here. So we have these 3 pieces. Now they look pretty small, and when they cut them out, I have a little trick for you. So let's just save this, And this is day 5, winter scene card. And I'm going to put it in my cards and save it. Perfect. All right, let's go ahead and make it. Now we only have the one print and cut here. Obviously we can just simply change our paper size over here to 8.5 by 11. That works out just fine. On the next one we have all these little pieces that we're going to cut out, and as before this comes on a different sheet, so I am going to move the card and I'm going to move it where all of those little pieces are because I want it on the same thickness cardstock. I just move it down to the 2-inch area here. I can still fit everything on an 8.5 by 11. If I want to have them out of the same material, if I want to cut a strip out here, I can do a 2-inch strip and still put my 8.5 by 11 sheet here without cutting it and grabbing all of that. So that's a little trick as well. Put your extra scrap papers at the top. That leaves you the whole bottom to use a full sheet of paper. So that looks really good. Now we're going to have several different cuts here. Now I'm going to have these on 3 different colors, but you'll notice that they only take up 3 inches. So I can fit 3, 6, 9, and it only comes up to the 5, 6 inch marks. I could probably put in scraps that are 6 by 3 and get all 3 on the same mat if that is what I wanted to do. I cut mine out of different mats because I did several, so I'm just going to move this object, and moving them becomes a really important part of what you're going to do. I'm going to confirm this one. It'll all look like the same color, but you know what you're doing. And then of course the last one here, I'm going to move that onto the same mat as well. That's this one. Confirm. And now I can put this piece down past the 3-inch mark, so I'm still at 6 here. I could cut them all on one side, cut them on 2 sides if I put them down here. I'm going to put this one at the bottom so that I know I can do a 4 by 6. This one is going to be 3 by 6. They're all going to be 6. I'm going to put this down at the 4, just a little easier to remember where I have them on the sheet. So it looks like we are only going to have 3 sheets here instead of the original 6 that Cricut had decided. So let's click on continue. Now I haven't selected my device, but what I suggest you do is use the intricate cuts option. And when you're doing an intricate cut, one of the things to remember are the thicker cardstock, it quite often will not go all the way through. So what can you do? I'm going to give you an idea of what I do, and it works perfectly. I do the intricate cut. When it asks me to unload the mat, I do not unload it. What I do is push the go button again, and it recuts in the same spot, and it comes out perfectly. All right, your job right now is to get everything cut, and then tomorrow we're going to put this card together.